Picture this. You're watching a guy who has panic attacks in his bathrobe, cries about ducks, and spends half his time complaining to a psychiatrist about his mommy issues.
Why the f should I be a good son to that fucking demented old bat, that fucking selfish, miserable c.
This same guy also runs a criminal empire, and somehow nobody successfully challenges his authority for 6 straight seasons. How the hell does that work?
Cunnilingus and psychiatry brought us to this.
Today, we're diving deep into the most fascinating leadership paradox in television history. Because let's face it, Tony Soprano should have been whacked by episode 3. Instead, he created a psychological fortress so impenetrable that even his enemies couldn't figure out how to break it down.
It's like Sun Tzu says, a good commander is benevolent and unconcerned with fame.
Get ready for some serious mind games because we're about to dissect the mind of a man who turned therapy sessions into strategic advantages and panic attacks into power moves.
Quasimodo predicted all this.
To figure out why nobody could touch Tony Soprano, we first have to see what sets him miles apart from the average boss. The answer lies in how he turned his inner demons into his greatest strength. He weaponized his own mental instability. While other mob bosses ruled through fear or respect, Tony created something entirely new: rule through psychological unpredictability.
These people have no love or compassion.
We're finished. And you're lucky if I don't break your fucking face in 50,000 pieces.
Okay.
Tony explodes at Dr. Melfi in Season 1, perfectly demonstrating how his emotional volatility became his greatest asset. Nobody could predict which Tony they'd encounter: the charming family man or the guy who'd beat you unconscious with a stapler.
What are you screaming about? Free alterations?
As some viewers have noted, Tony's apparent weaknesses were actually brilliant psychological warfare. Would you challenge a boss who might give you a hug or break your kneecaps, depending on whether his mother called that morning?
I've been dreaming of that fucking romaine all the way to over here. Now who came in here and ate my shit?
Tony's unpredictability keeps everyone guessing, but his real superpower is outrageous cunning. Tony's first genius move happened right before Jackie Aprile's funeral in Meadowlands. Instead of fighting Uncle Junior for the top spot, Tony pulled off the most brilliant political maneuver in mob history.
Sopranos have been waiting a long time to take the reins. That's why I want it to be you, Uncle June.
Tony says with a straight face, while secretly making himself the shadow boss. He gave Junior the title, the target on his back, and the FBI attention while keeping all the real power for himself.
You see, that's why you should be boss. You're so f***ing smart.
This wasn't just smart politics, it was psychological chess. By letting Junior think he won, Tony eliminated the most credible threat to his leadership before it could even form.
Yeah, only now we got a brand new lightning rod on top to take the hits.
Meanwhile, Junior's sitting there like, I'm the boss of this family, while Tony's actually running everything from behind the scenes.
To our new boss. Salute.
Now that we've unpacked Tony Soprano's one-of-a-kind leadership vibe and his razor-sharp personality, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's examine the magnificent disasters who actually tried to take down Tony, because their failures reveal everything about his psychological armor.
She kept talking about my father's feeble-minded brother, but I always thought she meant you.
Junior's critical error was believing that titles matter more than relationships. He focused on being called boss, while Tony focused on actually being one. In the end, Junior had the crown, but Tony had the kingdom.
I'm on the street. That's the arrangement. Stay home, clip your coupons, be a happy man.
The beauty was that Junior couldn't eliminate Tony without admitting he'd been played from the beginning.
My nephew running things? Not that Struns.
As some fans have observed, Junior was trapped in a prison of his own ego. He couldn't kill Tony without revealing he was never really the boss.
Sucking up to Tony Soprano has done wonders for you. I go away for a while, I come back. You're a tough guy.
Richie's entrance in Toodle f***ing Ooh isn't a comeback, it's an alarm bell. From the moment he steps out, the show announces Tony's most physically dangerous rival has arrived.
You want to talk all this old school shit about the rules? Well, here's a rule you might remember. I'm the motherfucking one who calls the shots.
Here's what made Richie terrifying. 20 years in prison had turned him into pure, concentrated malice.
What's mine is not yours to give me.
He tells Tony, genuinely believing that old-school intimidation could crack Tony's modern psychological armor.
Stay as long as you like, Rich. She's your problem now.
But Tony's handling of Richie was a masterpiece of strategic patience. Instead of meeting violence with violence, Tony played the long game.
What's this?
What's this? It's the jacket!
When Richie gave him that infamous leather jacket, Tony graciously accepted it, then immediately gave it away to his housekeeper's husband. The psychological message was devastating. Richie's most prized possession meant so little to Tony that he treated it like garage sale junk.
That jacket I gave your brother, and he spit on it.
But the real genius? Tony let Richie dig his own grave. Every escalation, every threat, every move Richie made only isolated him further from the crew.
He couldn't sell it. He's not respected.
By the time the tension peaks, the contrast is complete. Richie proves force. Tony proves control. Richie exits loud. Tony wins quiet.
Janice,
Right.
I gotta go.
Janice fires the shots, but Tony conducts the aftermath, calm, clinical, and in control, proving that real power isn't who shouts the loudest. It's who writes the last page.
When did that happen? You gotta ask permission to ply your trade? Here's your end. Be happy.
Feech declares in All Happy Families, completely missing the point of modern criminal leadership. Feech doesn't just come home. He storms in like yesterday's king, dragging the past behind him and daring the room to say it's over. He talks rank. He talks respect. He talks like time stood still.
Here we go. Memory lane.
It's important these young guys know the history.
Tony lets him talk. Then he tightens the screws. No fireworks, no grandstanding, just a quiet chokehold on cash, on access, on oxygen. Feech wants the old rules. Tony controls the new board.
You just keep your antidotes to local color, like Dynaflows or McGuire sisters or shit like that. Otherwise, shut the f up!
Then the line gets crossed. A wedding stunt, side deals, a chain of command stepped over like it's a curb. Feech mistakes audacity for authority, and Tony quietly makes it a case file.
Did I learn nothing from Richie Aprile? Nip it in the bud.
And when it's time to move, it isn't a hit, it's a process. A clipboard, a knock at the garage. The dinosaurs don't go out with a bang, they get filed away.
This was the better move than taking them out.
The most devastating part? Tony eliminated Feech without firing a shot, just by understanding that sometimes the best way to win is to let the system do your dirty work.
Want a drink?
Not the time, Anthony.
Now this is where things get really interesting. Ralph wasn't just dangerous because he was violent. He was dangerous because he was smart. Some viewers consider him Tony's most formidable challenger, and they're not wrong.
Ralphie's star is rising. Paulie can't come near the kind of cash for us.
Ralph's justification for the incident with Tracy in University reveals his fatal flaw. He thought logic could override Tony's emotional authority.
I could see if it was his daughter or a niece of his. But all this over some dead
Ralph made two critical errors. First, he challenged Tony's paternalistic control over his people. When he harmed Tracy, he wasn't just targeting a stripper. He was attacking Tony's self-image as protector of his domain.
You disrespect this place. That's the reason why you were passed the over.
Second, when he harmed Pai Oh My, he attacked Tony's emotional vulnerability. Tony's anguish over the horse and whoever did this wasn't just about the animal. It was about Ralph's refusal to respect the psychological boundaries Tony had established.
Don't give me that look. It was a f***ing horse.
Ralph was playing rational chess while Tony was playing emotional warfare. And here's the kicker. The person willing to go completely nuclear always wins.
John, how long I gotta wait? Tony Soprano, left to his own device, is never gonna give up that animal blundetto. Really, an eye for an eye?
Phil's introduction in All Due Respect immediately established him as Tony's most persistent long-term threat. Phil's challenge was different. He wasn't trying to take over Tony's family. He was trying to eliminate it entirely. His famous declaration in Stage 5 represented the ultimate challenge to Tony's authority.
Compromised everything. No more Butchie. No more of this.
Phil made it biblical when it should have stayed business. 20 years inside left him hungry for vindication, not negotiation, and Tony let him starve for it, feeding just enough respect to keep the talks alive, then cutting the supply when Phil demanded too much.
There ain't any checks. What are you talking about?
Silvio, Mr. Soprano's guy, came by this morning.
Said to pull your jobs.
Once Phil painted himself as the principled one, every compromise became surrender. Every retreat became betrayal. Tony didn't corner him. He let Phil corner himself with his own inflexibility.
I don't know. Maybe...
What? You talking about reaching out?
We can't go back. Are you out of your mind?
The result? A boss so committed to being unbreakable that he shattered the moment his own people decided he'd gone too far.
I had a semester and a half for college, so I understand Freud. I understand therapy as a concept.
So circling back to the question we opened with, why couldn't anyone touch Tony Soprano? Here's what most people miss. Tony was the only mob boss in history who was actively studying psychology. Those sessions with Dr. Melfi weren't just character development, they were strategic intelligence gathering.
Nobody cares if I'm alive or dead.
I didn't just meet you. I've known you my whole f***ing life.
When Gloria Trillo tries to manipulate him in Amour Fou, Tony immediately recognizes the pattern. That level of psychological awareness in a mob boss is terrifying.
You want to be a better gang leader? Read The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
As some fans have noted, Tony's therapy sessions were like getting a PhD in human psychology, while his enemies were still using caveman tactics.
Our family's been doing our Jersey business a long time with the Sopranos, in a peaceful and profitable way.
In addition to everything we've already covered, there's one vital point most people miss. Tony was simply too profitable to eliminate. The DeMeo family might have been a glorified crew compared to New York, but they were a very lucrative glorified crew.
There are millions of dollars at stake.
Again with the money?
Yeah, again with the money.
Tony's earning capacity combined with his strategic mind made him nearly irreplaceable. You don't get rid of the goose that lays golden eggs, even if that goose has panic attacks or, God forbid, wears shorts.
Balk the enemy's power. Force him to reveal himself.
Here's the real genius of Tony's leadership. He made traditional challenges impossible by operating on multiple psychological levels simultaneously. Physical intimidation? He was bigger and meaner than most challengers. Political maneuvering? He was smarter and more manipulative. Economic warfare? He controlled too much of the revenue stream.
You got no f***ing idea what it's like to be number one. Every decision you make affects every facet of every other f***ing thing. It's too much to deal with almost.
Tony tells Silvio, revealing the psychological weight that actually strengthened his position. Some viewers have observed that Tony's authority remained unchallenged because he created a system where challenging him was simultaneously tempting and impossible. It was the perfect psychological trap. He was simultaneously too valuable to eliminate, too unpredictable to outmaneuver, and too psychologically aware to be caught off guard. His apparent weaknesses, the therapy, the panic attacks, the emotional volatility, were actually his greatest strengths because they kept everyone in a constant state of uncertainty.
But Tony, with his impulsiveness and selfishness, he's locked up in that f***ing head of his.
In the end, Tony Soprano remained unchallenged not because he was the best leader, but because he was the most psychologically dangerous opponent anyone could face. He turned his mental illness into a weapon, his family dysfunction into strategy, and his therapy sessions into military intelligence. And that, folks, is why nobody could touch the man who touched everyone else's psychological pressure points with surgical precision.
Quasimodo predicted all this.
What do you think? Was Tony a strategic genius, or just the luckiest psychopath in television history? Let me know in the comments below.